We are off to see the wonderful Wizard of Oz. I love this theme. And for the last couple of years, we have embodied this wizard within every June. And to acknowledge that we're all friends of Dorothy's, and especially during this wonderful International Gay Pride Year, where we acknowledge that we're drawn together through our similarities, and guess what? We grow through our differences, don't we? And that each of us is on a journey, and that we have people around us that maybe don't hear us at the moment. And if you remember that Dorothy came home, she was very troubled because Elvira Gulch was after her, because what did Toto do? He bit her. Well, you know, interestingly enough, our little four-legged fur babies, they sense vibrations. And when they sense vibrational energy, and it's, let's say, off, they react, don't they? They react. So Dorothy was all in a flutter, wasn't she? 12-year-old Dorothy. And she went to all her friends there on the farm hands, and, you know, they were telling her to just let it go, it would be fine, and stand up to old Elvira Gulch. And when Elvira comes to the house, to Auntie Em and Uncle Henry, and says, "The dog needs to be put down," Dorothy is devastated. Aunt Em is devastated. She says, "Elvira Gulch, I've wanted to tell you what I think of you for 23 years. But I'm just too good of a Christian woman to do it." And she runs into the other room and she's in tears. And old Uncle Henry's scratching his head and thinking, what do we do about this? So she grabs Toto and she takes him and puts him in a little basket. And what does Toto do? Toto jumps up in the basket, looks around, and jumps out and runs back to the farm, jumps through the window into Dorothy's arms, because what? Love always knows where it wants to be. Love always knows where it wants to be. And Dorothy embraces her little Toto, you know, her love. And so now she's going to run away because she's got to save this beautiful little four-legged fur baby that she loves so dearly, that instinctual part of ourselves. That's what that's about. Each of us, in a way, if we look at these archetypes, and what I love about our way of life is that we acknowledge the archetypes. In fact, Joseph Campbell, the great anthropologist of note, who did a wonderful PBS series with Bill Moyers called The Power of Myth, and that our sacred mythology, if we are not in tune with it, runs us, these archetypes. So we know that trained thought is far more powerful than untrained thought. And those are the words of Dr. Ernest Holmes, the founder of Science of Mind. The laws of science, the opinions of philosophy, the revelations of religion applied to human need and the aspirations of every living soul. The laws of science, cause and effect, that behind every effect there's a cause in mind. And that when we are in tune with the first cause, which we choose to call God, it doesn't matter what you call it, but to acknowledge that which is within us is greater than that which resides in the world of appearances that show up, and they look very daunting. They look like Elvira Gulch. And what did Dorothy call her? She said, "You're nothing but an old witch. I could bite you myself," right? She reacted, because that's the human condition. We react to things that come into the energy field. And she begged her Auntie Em, "Punish me, not Toto. I'm the one that let him into Elvira's garden." But no one was having it. And so she runs away. She finds Professor Marvel, who looks in his pretend crystal ball and sees a little picture of Auntie Em and Uncle Henry and Dorothy, and says, "Oh, there's someone missing you so very much and loves you so very much." And then she's crying and she's ill. And Dorothy said, "Oh my, it's Auntie Em. I've got to get back. I've got to get back." So that part of us that is that sympathetic vibration, that heart energy, gets back to the farm, right? But guess what? it's never the same. Going back is never the same. And so when she gets back, what happens? It's quite a twister, isn't it? It's quite a cyclone. And she gets into the house, finally finds her bedroom with everything absolutely flying in the energy field. And what happens? She's hit in the head, falls back on the bed, and enters an alternate reality, as each and every one of us, we do when we're not learning through intuition. And we're learning through one or two ways. The first is intuition, where we're open to the energy of the universe and its messages. Be still and know that I am God, that we are co-creators with this energy, and that we are created in the image and likeness of it. So we're learning through intuition, opening, being mindful, or guess what? We're learning through bitter experience. And sometimes we need the bump on the head to send us into an alternate reality. And through this alternate reality, she sees life moving by, and even Elvira Gulch on a broomstick, right? Moving by. And then the swirling and the energy, the collective consciousness that swirls us around, and the collective unconsciousness. And suddenly the house is lifted. And what is a house? It's, that place of shelter where we go within to that secret place of the Most High. It's a place of shelter, but it's uprooted from that foundation because we are in an alternate state of consciousness, and swirls and swirls and swirls, and finally lands where? In Munchkin land. And what does it land on? The Wicked Witch from the West. So when Dorothy comes out of the house, and she's suddenly, and it goes from black and white. I love the film. It goes from black and white to color because she's suddenly in Munchkin land. And my late husband actually taught school with Frank Baum's great-grandson, and he gave us the original copy of The Wizard of Oz, signed by Frank Baum. And his amazing imagination. And remember what Einstein said? Imagination is more powerful than knowledge. Why is that? Because imagination is the heart energy, isn't it? And if you've ever studied heart math up at San Francisco, the heart has an intelligence, and it opens to empathy and compassion and forgiveness and looking past the human condition. That's the heart. So when Dorothy steps out into Munchkin land, and suddenly there's this amazing bubble, and it comes down and it lands, and it's this beautiful, beautiful, she looks like an angel. And the first thing she says to Dorothy is, "Are you a good witch or a bad witch?" And she said, "Oh no, I'm Dorothy Gale. I'm not a witch at all. I'm 12 years old. I live in Kansas." And she looked around, and what did she say? "Toto, I don't think we're in Kansas anymore." And then she says to all the Munchkins, "You can come out. You can come out. She's a friendly soul, right?" And Dorothy proclaims that she is not a witch. She's Dorothy Gale from Kansas. And this is my little dog, Toto. And she said, "Well, you're a hero." Looks over at the house, sees the feet of the Wicked Witch from the West, right? And said, "You've killed the wicked witch from the West." She said, I didn't mean to. I was just in the house, and it was swirling and swirling and swirling." Because that's what the unconscious does. It uplifts us from the known and takes us into another realm, because Dorothy made a declaration, and she wanted to say, "Come on, Toto, we're running away. We're starting a new life." And when she found Professor Marvel, he, talked about the crowned heads of Europe and all the places he had gone. And she too, wanted to go there. However, isn't it fascinating that be very mindful of what you pray for? Because very often you will get it. And it's not exactly what we envisioned, but it's what we need at the time, right? It's what we need at the time. And I always say, whenever I felt the rug pulled out from under me, I've always landed on higher ground. And we kick and scream on change. Change is the only permanent thing in life. Nothing is so resistant as change. And what is the yellow brick road? It's the spiritual path. And yellow within the body temple is the emotional body, isn't it? It's the emotional body. It's the yellow and the orange of the emotional and mental body. And she has to get back home. And so Glenda, the Good Witch of the North, says, you want to find the wonderful wizard of Oz. And after they went around singing that, the Wicked Witch is dead, let's all celebrate the Wicked Witch is dead. When negativity is absorbed in the light of day, there is cause for celebration because we no longer have to entertain that. And that fear-based thinking, and we're experiencing it on the planet. I mean, it seems like never before, but yet energetically, we've never had this kind of technology that we know about, where everything, it's out there, it's on the internet, it's on our TVs, it's on the news. And so it's up to us to discern. And I do not watch the news. I have it on my iPhone, and I keep abreast of what's going on in the world so that I can go within and send out that light and that compassion and that energy onto the planet, because we are very polarized right now. And there are those of us that, feel that all paths that lead to God are good beyond color, race, creed, sexual orientation. And there are those that feel, and they're very far religious right, that it's their way or the highway. And in our way of life, we believe in the universal oneness and beauty of life, and that we're all deeply, deeply connected, intimately connected. We're part of the human family. And what happens on our journey as we follow the yellow brick road, we come into contact with some amazing companions that we never envisioned would be on the path with us. And so when she's saying to Toto, which way, Toto, which way, which way? She hears a voice. You can go that way, or you can go that way. She looks up, she goes, scarecrows can't talk. That can't be him. And he said, well, maybe it is me. You can go that way, or you can go that way. That we're given a choice. So she gets up and she says, you can talk. And he said, yes, but here I am hanging on this pole. I can't get down. All I want is a brain. If I had a brain, I could get myself down. And what does Dorothy do? She extends herself. And remember, at 12 years old, not quite an adult yet, and yet not a child, at that pivotal point. And so she's kind of looking at how she can get the scarecrow down. And he's telling her he doesn't have a brain. He said, but if I did have a brain, maybe I'd lift me off the nail in the back and turn it around if I did have a brain. See, he does have a brain, but he's not acknowledging himself. And every Sunday we take what? The longest journey on the planet, the 18-inch journey from the head to the heart. For where our heart is, there our treasure will be also. And so she lifts him down, doesn't she? And they begin a conversation. And she says, I'm off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. Now, she's taking her power and she's giving it to the Wizard of Oz. And we heard in Claudia's reading this morning that Oz is what? Our higher power. The true Oz within us is our higher power. So when we're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz that's going to do it for us, we are giving away our power. I'm off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. And when we give away our power, then we are at the effect of what? The Wicked Witch from the West. We are at the effect of negativity, aren't we? And so she tells the scarecrow that she's off to see the wizard because she wants to get back home to Kansas and to Auntie Em and Uncle Henry and to all the ranch hands that she just loves. And she said, but you too could get a brain from the wizard. And the scarecrow, this is so the human condition, says, well, what if he won't give me one? I just love it. Dorothy said, then you won't be the worse off. You won't be the worse off. You don't have one now, and you won't have one then. But I believe that the wonderful Wizard of Oz is going to give you a brain, right? And off they go with these amazing companions. And when I moved up here to Desert Edge, it was really interesting. You know, I had a lot of unpacking to do. I mean, the movers come in, they plop everything down. You know about that. And then we have, you know, boxes to the ceilings. And it's about unpacking. And I lived in a much, much larger place in Palm Springs. And so I was, you know, divesting myself, and I did a lot of divesting before I moved. But once I got here, our whole breezeway, I mean, it was all wall-to-wall boxes. And so I said to an electrician that was fixing something here in my home, do you know of anyone that could help me? And he said, yes. And she's kind of obsessive compulsive about, you know, cleaning and getting things done. I said, that's just the energy that I need, just the energy. Now, life presents us with these unlikely companions. Just as the Scarecrow and Dorothy were down the yellow brick road symbolizing the spiritual path, they come in contact with the Tin Man, who can't hardly talk. Get my oil can. Yes, let's oil ourselves up so that we can be in the world to experience and know that there's a spontaneity in life. And I call it the law of spontaneity. And so they oiled the Tin Man up. And what does he want? He wants a heart. He said, knock on me. And it's hollow. He goes, when the Tin Master created me, he forgot to put in a heart. All I want is a heart. And he said it so tenderly. And Dorothy said, join us. We're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. He'll give you a heart. And so the Tin Man, he's all oiled up, and he feels this wonderful energy, and he's game. Let's get on a yellow brick road. Let's find the wonderful Wizard of Oz. Again, giving their power away to something outside of themselves, not realizing that within them is a heart of gold, that within them is intelligence that allows them to be in the world, but of a higher vibratory frequency, right? So when the electrician, he recommended this person, and I opened the door, and I suddenly just felt like Dorothy. And there was this toothless young woman, head to toe with tattoos, at my door, ready to help. And I was kind of taken aback for just a moment, because I don't believe we ever judge by appearances. And I thought, this is who God sent me. Thank you, Father, Mother God. And I invited her in and got to know her story, that she was a former drug addict. She had her child taken away. I ended up writing a letter to the court. She had been clean and sober for a couple years. They had taken the child away, so that I had something to offer her as well. And that there's an exchange of energy, just as when Dorothy met the Scarecrow, and in his wisdom, he was guiding Dorothy. And in the Tin Man, his beautiful heart, where he acknowledged their friendship and that they were off for a greater purpose. And as they're on the yellow brick road, what do they meet? Who do they meet next? The Cowardly Lion. And all he wanted was what? Courage. He said, I'm afraid of my own shadow. And Dorothy had to like pop him on the nose, remember? Because he was kind of, you know, doing his little bully thing with Toto. And you don't mess with Toto. You know, I have Miss Minnie. And you just don't mess with our little fur babies. And she grabbed Toto and she slapped him on the nose. And he went into his little tearful, act and started crying and needed courage. And she goes, you're nothing but a coward. And he said, you're so right. What? Agree with I'd adversary quickly. I am nothing but a coward. All I want is courage. Now, doesn't it take courage to get up every single day of our lives and to start this new day and to acknowledge that, yes, we are in the world to live, to laugh, to love, and to express, but there's something else going on. And this is what I love about our series, The Wizard Within, because we can look outside ourselves. We can, as Jesus, who became the Christ, said, you can low here and you can low there, but the kingdom of heaven is within you. The kingdom of heaven is within you. And when we realize that, it opens everything, doesn't it? And so many of us, we are off to see the wizard. We think something outside of us is going to do it for us, don't we? Not realizing that the wizard is within. And so next week, we're going to really talk about the energy of acquiring that power that allows us to be in the world, truly in the world, to live, to love, to laugh, to experience, to express, to weep, to laugh, whatever we need to do to be in the world, but of a higher spiritual vibratory frequency, because that which we are seeking, guess what, is seeking us. I remember a few years ago, because I've been here now 2.5 years, I had been looking for a book for 5 months. It was called The Joseph Campbell Companion. And I was at the Lieberman Chapel, and the Reverend Dr. Clayton Beaver came in. He said, you know what? I had, been cleaning out my storage, and I have these extra books. And he handed me 2 books, and one of them, of course, was The Joseph Campbell Companion. So I laughed. I said, I've been looking for this book for 5 months. You walk in, and there it is. That which we are seeking is seeking us. So we come into the world like Dorothy, the innocent. And all is well and beautiful, and somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds sing, don't they? And of course, when the rainbow appears, I will remember the everlasting covenant between God and all living beings. We come in as the innocent, the archetype of the innocent. Then Elvira Gulch shows up, the wicked witch from the West, and we go into the orphan. We feel abandoned and that everybody has forsaken us. Our very foundation is uprooted, and we find ourselves in the land of Oz, in Munchkin Land. And then we go into the energy of the warrior, where we say, I'm going to do something about this. So the archetype of the warrior arises, gets on the solution level, and starts the journey on the yellow brick road, the road to enlightenment, right? And the final quadrant of this is the caregiver archetype, where we begin to take care of ourselves. And as we begin to take care of ourselves, everyone in the energy field benefits. Even if they come to the door and they are toothless and they have tattoos from head to toe. They are our unlikely companions that the universe has sent to help us achieve something that we have set in motion. So on this day, I greet you not quite as the world greets you, with profound esteem, in the acknowledgement that we're all on the yellow brick road. And where are we going? Higher yet. Where are we going? Higher yet. Where are we going? Higher yet, because we are in a high place and we will not come down. None of these outer things move us. We are in a high place and we will not come down. I say to you, namaste. The divinity within me salutes the divinity within you, and the divinity within you salutes the divinity within me. And if I am in that place in me and you are in that place in you, there truly is only one of us. Namaste. Shalom, the peace that passes all understanding. And God bless us, every single one. And so it is. And now